Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and I helped somebody with another file like this, and he created one on his own and did a really good job and just sent it to me and asked me to critique it. So I'm going to critique it, and we're back to these terrible stars, so you need to replace those like we did the other day with the blend tool. And I'm not going to go over that. The only other thing I see is on the dog, which really adds to the dog, but there's a lot of nodes for plasma cutting and making it a little bit hard on the plasma cutter so I would get the smoothing tool and smooth these out just a little bit to give the plasma cutter time to turn around on those sharp nodes, especially like this one right here. You don't want a piece of metal particularly that sharp. So what I would do is, round these guys off a little bit. I think it'll still look just as good, and maybe even delete that node because it didn't do anything. And then just kind of round off some of these corners. Give the plasma cutter a little space. Like that is just going to burn through. So if we do that and just make these nodes a little bit, I don't think it's going to take away from the graphic. You would maybe even, can't delete it. So we're just going to have to click on it. And, well, evidently we need to click all these and right click and turn them into a curve. And then when you click on the individual, you've got these handles. Just make these areas a little bit smoother transition. You could all do this with the shape tool. It's not going to take away, it's just going to, an inside sharpness isn't that big a deal, but this outside that's going to be hanging. I'm just always afraid of it being too sharp and burning away. That's a no-no with a plasma cutter. I'm going to delete that node, didn't need it. Delete that node, didn't really need it. You just take these and just make them a little bit rounded edges. Just make sure you stay, and then we might even be able to delete that. Stay away from this edge so we got some strength. But that looks pretty good. I would maybe delete that node. I don't think you can delete that because it's going to break it apart, but it didn't. So that's a constant curve. The only other thing I see is this edge right here. If we take the Smart Fill tool and fill in what's going to be metal, this white edge is going to be completely separated this, and it's going to give it a weak point. So maybe what I would do, and it's just personal preference, I would take my nodes here, maybe even take all 6 of them, and just bring them out to here, and then take your virtual segment delete key and delete these other lines. And I might have gone even too far because this is what I'm trying to get away from. Can't really do it there because that's going to be non-metal. Let me think about this. Maybe I should have just lined them all up. Let's do that. Let's back up and let's take these nodes and line them up with this line. There we go. Now just take, so this is, you got to almost smart fill it to look at it. So this is going to be blank. This is going to be solid. So we need to take away that line on the solid part and make, that shouldn't happen. There's a leak or something that probably I did. Yeah, there's a leak right there. It's a node that's not on top of each other. You can always take those nodes and delete them. See, there's the problem. But we can fix that. Let's zoom in here, get this other part and delete these nodes. And then just, matter of fact, maybe it'd be easier just to go ahead and break all these apart and right click and break it apart and then just take that line out. Same thing there. We can't do that. We'll have to break them apart. And what I'm going to do is just put a solid line there. So if we grab these 2 nodes, right click, break apart, and then it's not part of that anymore. Now we ought to be able to just take a straight line with a 2-point line and go from that node all the way down to that node. And then hopefully we can delete this line Well, we've got some leakers. Let's do this. Let's set our new line. Let's back up here and draw a new line just inside that line. And if we hold down the control button, it'll be perpendicular to the other line. Now we ought to be able to delete every other line. There we go. And then we can delete these. And then, as always, I would smart fill it. And what that's going to do is going to seal up all our joints. So let's take our smart fill tool and fill this in. And that looks, I think that looks better. It actually gives it more stripes, and it's going to be a lot stronger. And then when you left click, no fill, and right click, make sure it's a hairline. So go up here to your pen tool and put hairline before you cut it off. But once you, see, I don't think that took away, and it does add to the fixture. I don't see any extra nodes that really could be deleted. You know, all the straight lines are straight. But once you get rid of these stars, I think you'll be good to go. Anyway, hope that helped. Thank you for watching.